this may actually be one of their first major opportunities to get it.
And right now, just as the gates are starting to open up, let's take a look at this. Blue teammate gives him a nickname, Old Man, from his stable performance and slow reacting.
Are you sure it's not because it's actually Gary Oldman? Because if it was, I wouldn't be able to tell. That's just Gary Oldman for you. You don't know Gary Oldman's in the movie until the credits roll. It's like, what? That was him? Anyway, maybe we're all Gary Oldman. The G in Logitech Geobang is for Gary. Yeah. But at any rate, gates open now for both of these teams, and just sort of general scrapping on the high ground. We're not going to see any Pharah. I think this is one of the first times we haven't seen a Pharah on Sanctum in a couple of weeks. Now, God is going to be the first casualty, though, on the side of OneShine, so they're not going to be able to set it for their EMP. And a Bang just looking to get aggressive, want to try and capitalize on it, close out, but one in too deep. Unfortunately, they do get the trade backs, though, on the supports of OneShine. And that does mean, oh, actually a couple of hits back. It's not quite set in stone. The point unlocked now. OneShine are actually potentially in position to get on it.
There's a lot of trades coming back through, though. Blue, for all the Old Man that he is with the slow reactions, he's actually already got the Pulse Bomb doing plenty of damage to this OneShine side. And with that, you might see the point start to swing back over, especially if this Pulse Bomb lands.
Yeah, they are just sort of backing up a little bit here, OneShine. They are given the space, and that does mean the Cat may end up going over, but they're nearly on that EMP, so they should be able to enter with it. Puns is actually the one who makes the Pulse Bomb stick. Blue, on the other hand, not so lucky. Maybe he is an Old Man. In fact, Puns even kills Blue, and OneShine having been able to re-enter with that EMP, even with the sound barrier now committed out of Bello, are actually finally going to get the convincing fight. One with this Dragon Blade does at least get one, funnily enough, but it's just not anywhere near enough. OneShine should be securing this point.
This has been one of the longer engages we've seen on the opening fight of Nepal of Sanctum in a while. It started out on the outside section, actually, and still, it's not quite over just yet. Now, it's just started to see that Cat finally come on through for OneShine. And the sound barrier from Bello, as well as the early kills from Puns. By the way, he used the Pulse Bomb already onto a second. Blue at 40%.
And I was going to say, speaking of ultimates that have come up in record time, Goddess died at the start of that skirmish, came back, got an EMP, is now 80% of the way to his next one. This is exactly what OneShine need to start getting going on their defense.
And Logitech some opening, they find it. That actually slows down the EMP significantly. In fact, a Bang could get a lot more kills here, and Goddess won't have the EMP ready.
Oh dear, gun goes down before he's able to remech, and that means the one kill back. Probably not really enough to spin it in their favor, especially not with Janny down and the res on one. This should be pretty simple fight from here for Logitech G. A Bang. Goddess will actually commit an EMP, but it's too late. There's no one here to follow up. It's just him and Bello. Bello's dead. Goddess is sure to die there. And that's Logitech G. A Bang getting the point.
And OneShine also using resources that they would like to have used for the next fight to come back into retake. Unfortunately now, they've pretty much completely run out. A Primal Rage from Zenith, not going to really be enough here. Bang, finally, they're in the driver's seat. Finally, they get that Cat back, and also they're expected to win this next fight.
Committing the EMP was really costly for OneShine as well, because that is exactly the kind of tool that could otherwise have allowed them to straight re-enter. And again, for the third time running, Goddess is the first casualty of their fight. Delays the EMP even further, delays that tool that OneShine really need to get back on the point. And it was going so well.
At this point, though, OneShine can be happy with getting a couple of ultimates out. They got rid of the Pulse Bomb, also got rid of the Valkyrie, so a couple of steps being taken while they are building their own ultimates. Bello coming up on that sound barrier as well. Important to counter out One's Dragon Blade. That's going to be a key factor in this next fight.
Just looking for that entry point again. A Bang getting very constantly aggressive. They want to keep OneShine bottled up. This time though, with the sound barrier, they are at least going to be able to break out. But Goddess has been quite hard pressure. Needs to be able to rejoin the team in earnest. One going to get aggressive. Gets hacked out though. Goddess shuts him down. He was stuck in that corner, and One thought it was a tasty morsel, bit off more than he could chew. And now a Bang getting aggressive on in their own right. Goddess has at last kind of had the time to start charging up an EMP. Not there just yet, and a Bang still have a few resources at their disposal. In fact, might not even need to use them because the fight's starting to slide their way. Fortunately, the Transcendence from Janny not really enough to stabilize it, even with that EMP coming down. The follow-up just hasn't quite been there. The kill's still coming through the way of a Bang, and that's the second time the EMP has gone off to no effect because there's just not been anyone to follow it up.
But this time around, OneShine actually had a pretty decent start. They even shut down One's Dragon Blade. They had the right pieces. They used a bunch of ultimates. We saw Transcendence. We saw the sound barrier. We saw the EMP most importantly. The fact that they still don't win after that is concerning.
Gonna have to find their way back in now. Very lean on tool. They've only got that Pulse Bomb.
Narc low.
It does get something, but yeah, Narc, I mean, he's low, but he's topped back off, and this Transcendence is really keeping AVRL hard in the fight here. Self-destruct as well creates space, and AVRL just pounce now, looking to shut down these members of OneShine. Divide and conquer. They pick off Janny, now looking to pick off Gun. Next, looks like they're wanting to be encircling Goddess here. Gonna get Bello before him, actually, and it's just the last few members from OneShine trickling on and indeed trickling off as they die. Point one goes the way of AVRL.
And there's a lot of ups and downs and pros and cons for both sides. And for the pros on the OneShine side, what you can see is, first of all, they got their very first fight when they got their very first cap, got themselves roughly 40-ish% cap on that objective meter. But more importantly, the way they were able to get their ultimates, how quickly they got their ultimates, was very impressive. Now, the con for OneShine, unfortunately, was even with getting fast ultimates, they could not get value out of them. They could not get enough kills, could not get enough players alive to make it count. Gun always secretly talking to his girlfriend on the phone. When teammate asks him, "Who are you talking to?" he will show his poker face and say, "Just a friend."
But what if it actually is just a friend and his team thinks it's his girlfriend? They just threw him under the bus.
Well, that is that's deep. That's got some layers to it.
Possible. There's, I mean, speaking of cons, I mean, that's the real con right there. You know, what even is the truth? But at any rate, truth right now is that OneShine are just really quick and decisive in this opening skirmish. They've got AVRL completely cornered here. Not even that, they've got them separated and cornered. Picking off Narc means they get established on the point before AVRL can really do anything about it.
And this is where OneShine get that really big advantage, right? We see them again early on Sanctum. They had a great start. Early on in Village, again, a good start. But how do they translate this now? How do they get the follow-up kills? By the way, Blue, changing from Junkrat onto a Tracer.
Yeah, they realized that the Junkrat wasn't quite needed against the team comp that OneShine are running. They are, however, going to stick onto the Sombra, as is Goddess. And One, actually, despite losing that opening skirmish, is well ahead of him in terms of the EMP charge. But the first casualty is Oyo, and with that, AVRL just kind of need to give this a bit of space. Oh, but they catch Puns, they catch Gun's mech as well. And this is an opening now for AVRL, kind of creating something from nothing, getting Gun as well, fully closing him out. Zenith is low, they drop Bello. They're going to get on the point here.
And this is starting to fall apart very quickly for OneShine. And OneShine are not even going to get the same amount of progress that they managed to get on Sanctum. This time, they barely put up a fight on the second fight around. Even with ultimates coming online, they have the EMP first. Puns have the Pulse Bomb first, but both now got a copper death. Both now forcing themselves to respawn, come into this third fight. And Logitech AVRL coming into their own third fight, way further in advantage.
And it was kind of possibly at the, the worst possible time for both Puns and Goddess, unfortunately. And yeah, like you said, AVRL, just all the tools they've got on the defense now, it's going to be the macro game OneShine have to play. They've really got to whittle these resources down, and that means they can't commit too many of their own, but they've struggled with that macro game. Good opening pick by Blue as well, as they've already committed out an EMP and Coalescence. AVRL committing not even half of that. It's just be the Primal Rage from Narc, but it is starting to slide the way of OneShine now. The commit has paid off for how low these members have got. Zenith does get the work done. And now late commit on the sound barrier. Shin's feeling good about this one. He reckons he can do it between himself and Narc. They've even got the Transcendence to do that, and they do close off on Zenith, but the rest of OneShine have been healed back up. Now they're set up on the point. They've still got the presence even with Zenith dying. Good catch on the far side against Puns, but yeah, the cap the way of OneShine, and it's now just AVRL kind of really sticking in this longer than they should.
That's a bit of a misfire from AVRL this time around as well, but it's not quite over just yet. Janny's the ones to use Coalescence.
Second time.
Spawns, self-destruct still coming into this and nearly capped on through for AVRL.
They actually do cap it. Immediately back off OneShine, but OneShine, oh, actually with Janny going down, it's not looking so hot anymore. They were still actually kind of in the driver's seat of the fight, though. Puns goes wide on the Pulse Bomb and gets hacked out. Zenith dead to Blue, and AVRL are slowly getting the run around. But the last few members of OneShine are just not even done here. Gun is still pulling weight. Goddess is still pulling weight. They're not actually on the point, but they might actually be able to get it back off AVRL again.
But AVRL, actually, them getting the cap in the first place, very important. In fact, for AVRL, they're not quite out of this one. OneShine have backed off. It just doesn't seem quite like, consistent here. The only thing that is consistent is that no one really can maintain presence on this cap.
Yeah.
At least for AVRL have managed to get the cap itself.
There's going to be the EMP in from Goddess, but they've got to convert. They're the ones losing members here. The only one they got was Smiteable. He wasn't even in a mech at the start of that fight. But now finally getting some closeouts that they've desperately been needing. Narc crucially among them. Blue going to have to back off. But AVRL are going to be able to commit back in with their own EMP now.
Now you're starting to see that early cap on from a bang, sort of midway through that previous fight against OneShine. So important, allowing themselves to get the 99. That should have been OneShine's 99, who eventually now finally do get this cap on back, but it took so much pressure, it took so much time, and now Logitech G-Bang have the win conditions, EMP ready.
Straight down onto the lot of them, and dropping Bello with the pulse bomb. This is sliding the way of a bang as OneShine. Last few members just getting picked off on the point here. Not looking like they'll be able to push it through any further. Man, there were so many fights throughout the midsection of Village there, where both teams just stayed committed the whole way through, never quite letting it go. But ultimately, it was a bang who were in control of it for just a little bit longer during those times.
That's why it's so important, right, to have control of the point, which is an obvious thing to say, but when those fights drag on for so long, only one team is collecting percentage points.
Yeah.
Both teams are fighting, both teams are trading members, both teams are also trading control of the point, but again, only one team is actually taking up percentage points, and that one team was a bang.
And that's the thing, there were so many fights there that were almost a little bit unfortunate. That's why teams don't stay in for those really long fights. Even if they think, hey, maybe we can turn this one around. When they don't, they tend to just back off. Teams tend to not flood more resources in. But for both of these teams, they're both willing to just kind of stick in the fight. And what often ends up happening is, instead of the fight not going well early on and then pulling back, resetting, they're letting it go the full distance, you know, whittling themselves down to like one member apiece, and then often still backing off at that point because they go, well, now we do have to reset. We don't have members, but like you said, for the entire duration of that fight, percentage points just get wrapped up. You end up playing a slower game on the whole.
At the same time, though, if you look at what happened there for both OneShine and a bang, it could have gone either way multiple times. The only thing that really made the difference was while it was going back and forth, it was under a bang's control for the most part. OneShine did get one cap in there, but they lost it so quickly. And it was after that they lost it, that long period of time where they could not get it back, which was so critical for that team. But so close when they had those ultimates, so close when they committed and they got a bunch of kills, but they just could not close out enough members. That's what made the difference. But enough in Nepal. Heading straight on to Hollywood, and you get a treat because it's the second time this evening.
Oh, yeah. After all that Numbani the last couple of weeks, we're finally getting a dosage of Hollywood. I have to say, this is, I think, shaping up to be exciting no matter what, regardless as to who comes out the winner at the end of the day here, because both of these teams, just the way they fight, right, they're very much in for a penny, in for a pound types. If we've got an ultimate, we're going to use it. We're going to try and make something happen. And it's making these fights really long, really scrappy, and really intense. You never know who's going to come away with it until the very last kill has gone through.
This time around, though, it's not going to be the case where, you know, with a neutral objective like control, this time around it's going to be attack and defense, which means you're not going to have a case where one team just sort of runs away with a bunch of objective time, unless, of course, it's the attacking team, in this case for Hollywood. But both teams kind of fighting very hard for those objectives is going to be very interesting, especially when that objective starts moving in the B and C phases.
Is that a real hotel, by the way? Babylon Hotel? It's like that's not inside the studio area, so it's not like a set. Like, is it a real... I mean, you've been there. I was there, but it was a really long time ago. You've been there more recently. Is there a Babylon Hotel around Hollywood?
To be honest, I didn't pay attention to that.
Of all the details to not note...
I'm going to say no because it would be difficult for... I don't think you could put a real brand of someone's hotel in your game. So I'm going to say no.
Yeah, that's a fair point. There is something that's... I feel like there have been a couple in, though, that are real landmarks. Australia does have takeaway joints. That's that one on Junkertown. That's real. They do actually have takeaways. You know? That's not fake.
We didn't go to one fake.
No, you're right.
We can confirm it in the flesh.
Not, yeah. Well,
we just taking people's words for it.
I can only assume. Actually, we did go to a Hungry Jack's. Because they aren't allowed to call them Burger King.
But no.
That's
just like the Alderworth Hotel in Kings Row, I'm pretty sure these are all fake hotels.
But the Chinese theater is real.
It is.
And you've been there.
But it's not quite like that. There's a lot more people trying to take my money.
I mean, it's anyway. There's no Elvis impersonators on the side of OneShine, but we are going to see Bello back on that DPS now that they aren't in need of that Sombra anymore, and he's going to be out the gate, already going off to great effect on this Pharah. Just the damage pummeling down as the divers follow up. Gun and Zenith just having a field day right now. So much pressure on a bang as OneShine can just kind of barrel into the point. Now a bang have to answer back somehow.
And they do answer pretty quickly. They didn't give away too much. One tick is being gone, but OneShine is still picking up kills. So for all of the efforts of Logitech Geobang, they're not quite getting the trade overs. At least the Coalescence might come on through.
But it might just be too late as well. You look at all the members that are dead. They're still going to commit it out of Oyo. Puns does throw in a pulse bomb just for good measure, but honestly, I think there's a point where a Bang maybe just kind of have to accept that this one hasn't quite worked out. They're still committing to this one. They haven't really been able to contest. Bello, oh god, it's nearly left himself too exposed there, but it paid off. They got Zenith back in the fight, and they do close off the last few members of a Bang.
Well, the time when they realize it's not going to work out is after the Coalescence comes out and it does not get enough kills, or rather it does not allow the rest of a Bang to clean up enough kills. OneShine, they were not able to get removed from that point. Now, both teams opting to go for the Widowmaker here. The head-to-head battle going to be extremely important for both sides. Specifically, you even have Bello changing off of the fire. Doesn't want to have any of that.
Yeah, I think rightfully so, and he's going to go onto the Genji, a hero he is pretty decent on. I do love me a Widow duel, especially when they are landing those headshots. It's just so exciting. Tension is palpable.
You miss out on Bello's Lucio. That's
you do.
That's a big sad.
You also miss out on Bello's Doomfist. Maybe later. When things start going bad for OneShine, that's when we'll see Bello's Doomfist. But for now, things are actually going decently. Payload has been underway, having to commit the Valkyrie to get this fight going, but they got the headshot on Blue and the DMAC on Smiteable at the same time. Now they're going to close out on him. One as well. Puns making this Widow work, and OneShine keeping that momentum.
They're also keeping momentum in terms of macro economy right now because they have ultimates to go through as well. Puns, the first one onto the Infra site, going to get a huge advantage on top of Blue, who's just so far behind still, and Logitech Geobang trying to come out. All of this movement is spotted.
And I don't know if you noticed that as well. The Venom Mine was in front of that doorway, but a Bang weren't actually, so OneShine weren't triggering it, so a Bang didn't know that they were right outside the door. Now they're just finding nothing but nothing with all the tools that they've committed as they flood out the gate. Oyo gets pummeled down. OneShine have very much weathered the storm. The headshot on Puns is cute, but they're really not out of the woods here. A Bang, they're not really ahead in this fight. He can get Red straight back in. Ana has actually really made some work happen here, though. A Bang, they're not looking super stable, but finally closing out on Gun means actually they may be able to push it through.
That's the thing, right? One actually opened up the doors for a Bang to get back into this fight. Despite dying himself, after picking up 2 to 3, the rest of his team just cleans up everyone else. And for OneShine, too far behind, Carter's too pushed up for the reinforcements to get there in time for them as well. The only thing that was a little bit wasteful is the Infra site gone for Blue, but at the same time, you'll do what you need to do to win the fight.
Absolutely. Well, you'll blue what you need to blue.
To won the fight.
To won. Oh, jeez. But, I mean, look, that's a decent place for them to stop up the car, but at the same time, there's 3 whole minutes here for OneShine to get it back underway, and they do have a good number of ultimates at their disposal for this one. This Dragon Blade from Bello, if they can make it connect. He does have to respect the Transcendence out of
Oyo, the back line.
Going straight in. There's going to be the Dragon Blade out, and there is that Transcendence countering it, but he's looking like he'll still be able to at least find something. But no, not anything. And one, meanwhile, without even a Dragon Blade, just the regular old, you know, Shuriken, etc., had a lot more success on the backline of OneShine.
Well, the bait was sort of set out there for OneShine, and OneShine leapt straight into it. Turns out there was a bear trap waiting for them as Logitech Geobang pulled back ever so slightly. Oyo turns out with the Transcendence, blocks out all of Bello's Dragon Blade. Meanwhile, one on the other side picks up a bunch of kills on OneShine's own backline, and with that, OneShine have to back off, waiting for now the res for Pun to come back in. Infra site from Blue dies while the Infra site was out, actually.
And resing Puns just paid straight off. One going to go in with the Dragon Blade. So far has had more success, and he is going to continue that trend. He drops his counterpart and the extra damage along with his diving buddies. They're going to get plenty of work done. Self-destruct to close it out. I got a joke for you. Why does the diver drop out of the boat backwards?
Why?
Because if he went forward, he'd still be in the boat.
Okay. Not bad. Okay. I'll give you that one.
Thank
you. I'm going to head straight back into Hollywood.
Go ahead, go ahead. be my guest. Oh, headshot on Goddess. That's rough.
But the thing is, we are still waiting for OneShine to get this next push underway. 1 minute 30 now. Puns does find that return kill onto Blue. It's going to be quite important because there's not going to be a res there, forcing out the sound barrier quite early.
Yeah, one is getting in super deep in these dives, but it paid off. Like you said, they forced out the sound barrier. One got out alive, as low as 32 hit points at certain moments there, and all but surrounded by members of OneShine. He shouldn't be getting away with this sort of stuff, but he is, and it's costing OneShine so much time. Only just getting back into the fight now.
And we're nearly at that 1 minute mark as well as the Valkyrie finally popped out for Goddess. And Bello needs to stay alive because Bello's nearly got a blade.
Oh, he's just barely able to stay alive because Goddess is just staying right on him. Has to come into res puns, which leaves Goddess vulnerable. They're looking to pounce on that. They drop Zenith first. And he's about to come up on his own Dragon Blade. It's looking like he's going to have it before Bello even got a chance to use it. Might even just 1v1 Bello out here. Oh my goodness.
And too many times we're seeing OneShine either being pushed up because the HP is too low. In this case it was Bello, or the other way around, which is the fact that someone goes down, forcing the res to come through. We're waiting for their members to come back into play, always with a 5 versus 6 disadvantage, unfortunately, unless they get an early pick on the blue with their own Widowmaker, which doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah, now compositional swaps, having to pick up the Tracer here, also going over onto the Moira, and One is the proactive of the two with the Dragon Blade, but Bello's got him! He needs to get some health back though, otherwise he is not going to last long, and he's got a Winston on him. Where was the healing for him? Unfortunately goes straight down, and that was a really crucial tool for OneShine that is just not on the table now. One is going to put on Bello's shoes and come back up the gate with a Doomfist. A Bang finally getting some members lost here. OneShine will finally get the payload moving again, but a Bang are going to be able to recommit before this gets capped.
And should they recommit, Bello should be waiting with the blade as well. Every single remaining ultimate for OneShine, including the ones that will be built very soon, needs to be used here for Logic to Bang. It's everything they have to use as well. The final fight for both teams, but the progress has already been made.
I'm waiting for some wacky Doomfist out of One. Self-destruct into the mix though, drops Bello! Mid-Dragon Blade! One even getting Zenith, punches Janny. Looking to alley Goddess, he did phase away, but he's not going to last much longer despite the coalescence. And wouldn't you know it, there is a second great Doomfist player in this tournament. A Bang are going to complete the hold shy of B, and that is how far they're going to need to get on their offense to take us to match point.
Well, let's look at the positives here, because for OneShine, off that last attack, they were able to make so much distance, nearly capping out B. If you are going to lose the B point, if you're going to lose before capping it out, you want to be pushing as far as you can. So now for OneShine on their own defense, you got to think B becomes so much more defendable. If they did not make that final push, that final string of distance, this could be a far more losable point.
And that's the truth, right? There's also still that opportunity to fully hold on A. Hollywood is absolutely one of the maps we see that on not too irregularly. So, I mean, OneShine, it didn't go great, but it didn't go badly. Like, there are plenty of ways they can win. There's plenty of opportunities. It's not a real back against the wall situation where, like, they have to fully hold or it's donezo. And I would certainly like to believe that they can.
Certainly with where that can't remain as well, I think a good amount of chance for them to stop things up onto A. If that's not possible, a lot of distance onto B that needs to be covered by a Bang before they can actually win here. So for OneShine, this isn't so dire just yet. A lot of opportunities for them to make this full hold count, but they got to start with A. They got to bleed off a lot of time on A, force into the overtime. That's how they're going to manage to get B safe as well.
Tell you what, I'm looking forward to it, if nothing else. I don't know that a Bang are going to be sticking to a lot of these picks, but there is a world where they maybe do like an Orisa Hog type thing. I do wonder.
It doesn't scale into B very well, unfortunately, so if they do that, they have to then change off for B, which then wastes all their ultimates. So for that reason, it's unlikely that you'll see it. So maybe something a little bit more flexible like the dive, and this is part of why dive is good, right? Because it is flexible.
What we are going to see though is the Sombra coming back out of OneShine, which does put Bello back onto the Lucio. That's a bit of a quirk of this lineup, is that they have to kind of take their DPS off the DPS in order to get Goddess on to the Sombra. So now OneShine, they do need to get that EMP charging nice and quick, but you already see One making big progress on the Dragon Blade.
Seeing a lot of, whenever you see Sombra as well, you know the whole game, or much of the game, is dependent on that, and so quickly, two of the members go down.
And now looking like Punz is going to get drilled down. Actually, he does stay alive thanks to the recall. It's going to be Zenith who dies in his place. It doesn't really matter either way, though, because OneShine, unfortunately, just losing the presence on that point so quickly. Again, the target prioritization from a Bang was super, super clean, dropping Bello straight away, catching Goddess as he was trying to come in on the backside of the fight, and from there, it's just picking apart what's left of OneShine.
Now it gets difficult because a Bang managed to get that push into one attempt, right, which means they get 5 minutes and 30-something seconds to make it all the way through B, and that should be enough time to make it through B. The only difficulty is if they continue losing members, if Punz can continue finding kills, which now he will be challenged by Blue directly. That is when Logitech G-Bang could struggle. That will give OneShine time to find more picks and find ultimates.
I was going to say the kill on Blue while he was... Oh, that's another one. The kill on Blue when he was on... yeah, just punched the corpse. Jeez, man. When he was on the Tracer, I mean, it didn't actually hurt them too much. They were still resetting, just moving the cart. OneShine couldn't do anything with it. Catching one, though, that's something else. Like you said, if Punz can keep doing this, Logitech G-Bang are not going to make much progress at all.
Because you need to buy time for Goddess to get this EMP right. Losing that first fight for OneShine means they're behind in ultimates. Getting back in front and getting the ultimates online means you have to start getting kills, which they are getting.
Yeah, there's... just getting the commitment in from a bang. Gonna go deep with the Dragon Blade. Pays off already. Goddess still doesn't even have the EMP as he goes down. Does actually have to run away from Janny here, but it doesn't matter. They've cracked it open.
Well, the difficulty is that he was probably never going to get the EMP before a bang. The only thing that they had was buying time with Punz on the Widowmaker. If Punz can keep Logitech G-Bang suppressed, keep them from getting this cart push on, that's how you get the EMP up. They finally do have it, but look at the cart. It's already so far through, and also a bang have position on the high ground. OneShine have to push out.
Yeah, this is a switcheroo. Now it's a bang. With the Widow and OneShine pulling out the Tracer instead. They have to get the CMP to connect. They have to commit really about now. Goddess is already in on the backside, has to drop in on top. Does get a decent number of members. Where's the follow-up now? Sound barrier's on. They are getting the members down. They've popped the tags. That is the convincing fight win that OneShine have been needing.
It is, but how late is it though? We're now 3 minutes and 35 seconds remaining onto the clock. They have to do this maybe 3-4 times more. They only just managed to get this defense settled right as the cart is nearing that finish point. OneShine cannot afford to make any more mistakes. They could earlier on while the cart was pushing. Now it's got to be perfect gameplay.
They do at least have some ultimate that they can start cycling through. If they can play the macro game here well enough, charge out that EMP quickly enough without Goddess dying, because that has been a problem for them so far, then they can do it. But a bang could just as easily get a convincing fight win and kind of end that dream straight away. That's going to be the first ultimate that they can cycle through, being the Transcendence, and they're getting a couple of kills for it as well. These are the sorts of fight OneShine need. Going to be able to pop Smileable as well, who smartly will not commit the self-destruct, but that does create a stagger.
So this is the time that a bang needs to try and get some additional ultimates out of OneShine. And for OneShine, use this time to try and use as little ultimates as possible. It's this kind of struggle between both the teams where one wants more ults, the other one wants less ults. That's going to dictate how the chips fall. And for a bang, they also got to work with the time that they have as well. 1 minute down since the last time I talked about the time remaining, and you could start to feel the pressure onto a bang. They can't afford to lose too many fights.
That being said, one now comes up on the Dragon Blade, and OneShine don't really have any great counters for it, aside from just straight hacking him out, or maybe getting a well-placed self-destruct. If one can go off on this, if they can keep him protected, which they should be able to do on the dive with that Transcendence, then he can just start to open up. Already going in, Zenith has to pop his Primal Rage. They've got Bellow, the dive is looking clean enough. Punz, oh, they got Goddess! They needed that EMP, he's even got Janny, and I think that might be all that OneShine really have to go off here. Zenith getting pressured out, Gun as well. They don't have the DPS left anymore. And that's going to be it. Goddess finally has an EMP. He's going to be booking it back to this one. It is going to be a miracle defense if they do it. But they're getting a few kills through. He may even hold on to it. No, commits the EMP, but he's getting pressured out by Narc. Can't translocate away. And it looks like the tank's still staying on the payload. Reasonably secure. Smileable back into the mech. Has a self-destruct as well. Him surviving through that fight is nothing short of miraculous, as the self-destruct creates the space for them to finally set up for what should be the final push through. And the sound barrier doesn't look like it'll quite be enough for OneShine. They buff it, a bang back just a touch, but a bang aren't done. They are diving straight back in, already dropping Bellow. They've already got Guns mech. Goddess getting the one back, but it's not going to be enough. Their own sound barrier now to give them the last few seconds of safety as Janny's Transcendence about to run out here. Unless OneShine, unless someone goes off right now, a bang should still be able to do this.
The problem is a bang are no longer picking up kills, and OneShine have picked up the most recent kills. The blade now coming through once again for one. Now it's coming right in for a bang where they want it, but still.
Yeah, traded. Not the same blade that opened out the fight, unfortunately, goes down to Pun. Zenith still keeping this cart on lockdown. One's going to go back onto the Doomfist here. Both of these teams are starting to go into an amount of desperation mode, but Blue and Narc together still in this fight are getting so much done. It's Zenith stalling out, trying to get Gun back in the mix, and the Pulse Bomb from Blue drops the tank presence from OneShine on the point. Not quite just yet, but it's looking like that's going to be the last member on the point for them. It'll only be Goddess and Puns. They're going to duck and weave for as long as possible, but a Bang have got the fight.
And a valiant effort from OneShine, because we actually managed to get into the overtime. They forced it into the overtime, and so long, so many times in that last engagement, OneShine almost brought it back together. They had some moments there where it looked like they were about to come in. Then One, finally with that final Dragon Blade, coming in to clean up a few additional members, gets killed himself, but still, the rest of a Bang flooding in, getting the additional picks. That's when OneShine can no longer stay in that fight. That's when OneShine can no longer retain any members alive.
That was tough. That was tough for both teams. And I think actually the thing that surprised me the most was how tough it was for a Bang. Because the point A went so well. Things were going well. I will give credit to OneShine. They had some good moments on the defense. They slowed up a Bang a lot. But it was in that final fight where they just kind of scrapped out for so long. It was almost the same thing that we'd seen so much of on Nepal, right? Where both teams, they just kept on going. The fights were going on so long. They were getting 2 rounds of respawns each just about. And that ended up burning all the rest of a Bang's time away. It got to the point where despite having about a minute and a half coming into the top of that fight, if they then lost it, it would have been overtime ticking down and not actually getting Hollywood at all. But they did get it over the line, 2-0 up in the series.
And with that, so far, a Bang are looking pretty decent. OneShine still need to find their legs in this match. We'll have to find out if they can do that right after this break.